Party rings work whether you are having just your family over or you are having all of your friends too. We're gonna make a quesadilla ring, and this is actually perfect because 2 nights ago for dinner, we had pulled pork and pulled chicken, so look how much I have left. So this is perfect, but if you don't have this, just get yourself a rotisserie chicken or cook up some chicken over on your stove and shred it up. You could do this also with ground beef if you prefer. You could do it with steak. I mean, your filling possibilities are endless. This is more about the style of what this looks like. So I went ahead and I've got my tortillas here. We've got 2 different kinds of tortillas because we had 2 different kinds in the fridge. But I went ahead and took my baking stone that I have here, right here, and I cut a circular piece of parchment paper to go on the top. You don't have to, but I did this for transfer purposes. So it's possible I may actually just serve directly from this stone, but I was thinking if I end up wanting to transfer it to a platter, the parchment paper is gonna make it really easy to do that. You can mix in some taco seasoning if you want with this. This is already very seasoned because of what it is. So I'm not gonna do anything to this, but please feel free to do that. You could also cut up some onion. You could cut up some red or green bell pepper and mix that in there. Your possibilities are endless. We're keeping it very simple. Now I'm going to take my quesadillas. Obviously you can see these are different sizes. These are not quesadillas, these are tortillas, and they're different sizes. I'm gonna cut down the centers. All right, and let's start with the larger ones. Whoa, that did not cut all the way through, did it? Now, like I said, feel free to mix in a sauce if that's something that you prefer. I'm gonna serve mine with a couple of things on the side, so I'm not too worried about a sauce. But you wanna put in your, you wanna put in a good amount of meat there, and then we are also going, actually on the next one, let's do this properly. I think it would be better if you did the cheese first. Now we are going to roll this into a cone shape. So just hang with me here for a minute. It's gonna be somewhat like so, okay? So you can see it's a cone shape. And then start to lay them on our baking sheet. I actually meant to put something in the middle here so that I could go around it. I totally forgot to do that. Actually, let's set this here. Hopefully you guys can see that well. Okay, so we're gonna change this up a bit. We're gonna start with cheese, and then we're gonna take some of our meat here and put it in the center. Then we're gonna roll it up in that cone shape. It's gonna be okay. Okay, roll. And then again, we're just gonna go the whole way around here. And then if we have enough, we'll even stack a second layer. I don't know if we're gonna have enough because of the amount of tortillas that I have, but we're just gonna go with it. Also, my oven is currently preheated to 375 degrees, and that is what we need our oven to be on. So obviously you can just serve quesadillas just like you normally would. This is just kind of a little fun way to change things up, change the way that it looks. Oh, I forgot to mention, you want to lay this seam side down so that it will hold shut because it will definitely come undone if you do not do that. Okay, now I do not have enough tortillas to do this, but if you want to add a second or even a third layer, they kind of start to turn upward. So let me try and make a good example. Like this one, once it's at the third layer, will basically stand up and it looks really, really neat. So if you wanna add another layer, my suggestion is to take a little bit of cheese and sprinkle it on this layer, then add your next layer on top, okay? And that's just kinda like when you pull them apart, you get that cheese pull and it's, yeah, that's what you want. Okay, so these are actually ready to go into the oven. I'm not gonna cook with that on. That was just for measuring purposes. So everything is cooked in here, but you do wanna get that nice like toasted look on these. So these are gonna go in at 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes. What we can't do is have this quesadilla ring without sour cream, guacamole, and salsa. Hopefully this avocado is good because they had 2 in the grocery store, 2. And I picked the one, oh good. I picked the one that I thought would be best, but I'm telling you guys, It was a rough one out there today, finding the stuff that I needed. Now, I've made guacamole here on my channel a couple of times. I keep it pretty simple. So we just do a touch of lime juice. I like to add a bit of garlic powder. You can add minced garlic too. I've done that many times. I have the onion powder, but you can add onions to yours if you want. Cumin, y'all, we love cumin so much, you have to add cumin. I mean, you don't have to, but you know, we like to add cumin. Oh, salt. I always add a little bit of salt. I forgot. We need to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our sides ready here, and hopefully I can figure out how to arrange these as well. We have some salsa left over from another recipe that we made, so this is perfect. And you guys know, normally we use Greek yogurt instead of sour cream. However, we actually had people over the other night and we needed sour cream, so we actually have sour cream, so we're gonna use that tonight. Those are ready to go. I was looking for a way to display all three of the little containers. Can't get that to work, but we did get the salsa and the guac. And then another thing you could do is if you're serving this for your family, if they like it, you could also just take your sour cream. Oh, my family is behind the camera right now saying, yes, take the sour cream and do that. So I have a tendency to have that thing just open in the background.
Really?
Okay, let's give this a try and see how it is. I'm just gonna take one of the little ones here, and I'm just gonna go guac, but we'll see. It's everything you anticipate a quesadilla to be, but in a really fun way. You guys are probably very aware of pigs in a blanket, but we're gonna take that to the next level. I love pigs in a blanket, truly love them. One of the things I feel like with pigs in a blanket though, is there's only one creative way to serve them. No, there's not. We're gonna take this and no, there's not. We're about to show you a very creative and fun way to serve these pigs in a blanket. I've got a couple cans of crescent rolls here and our favorite hot dogs. You can absolutely use like the little cocktail wieners, I think is what they're called. This is just the brand of hot dogs that I know that my family does well with. My son does really well with these. There's no nitrates and stuff like that. So we are going to use these and we're gonna cut these into thirds. So feel free to cut them to whatever size you want. But if you cut a regular size hot dog into thirds, it's about the same size as those cocktail hot dogs. And then each one of the crescent rolls, we're gonna cut in half. Take your triangle crescent and you're gonna cut it directly down the center, and that's gonna give you the perfect size for these third hot dogs. Now we are just taking these and we're gonna roll them up just like you do pigs in a blanket. I'm using all of these, and then I'm actually using my cast iron skillet. And we are going to arrange these in the cast iron skillet. I really want 2 rows of this. You can just do 1 row if that's what you want. You could do 3 rows, you could do any way you want, but I'm spacing them out just perfectly enough that I'm gonna get 2 rows. They actually might have a little more gap than you want, but this is how I want it to look, so I'm very strategic with the way that I'm spacing them. Okay guys, these are, because I don't remember how long they're going in for. My oven is currently preheated to 375 degrees. These are gonna go in for about 15 to 20 minutes. They're gonna go in a second time as well, but let's get these in the oven as is right now. This is so perfect. Okay, so me making this right here came at the perfect time because the other day for lunch, I made chili. So we are going to use the leftover chili for these chili dogs. I didn't even tell you guys that's what it was gonna be. So we're gonna take some chili. Now, I think honestly, my preference for this would be a no bean chili. However, We've got beans in this chili. We're using leftovers, and I'm not gonna make a whole new chili, but you get the concept, okay? So we are going to take that and we're gonna spoon right in the center. Yep, just like that chili dog like you would want, okay? So spooning in the center, let me move these back just a smidge. Can't just do chili. I mean, if you're gonna have a chili dog, it's a chili cheese dog. So we're gonna top it with cheese. So that's what we're doing. We are just topping this right here with some of our favorite cheese. Y'all, this is so easy to make and so good. And then you'll be able to take these and dip them in the chili cheese. You heard that right. You can take these and dip them in the chili cheese. I mean, you've had pigs in a blanket before, but you haven't had these pigs in a blanket. Okay, let's put this back in the oven for about 5 minutes or so and let everything finish cooking. Let this chili cook through. Let the cheese melt on the top. It's gonna be so good. Well, friends, I did not realize that while I was filming this part of the video, my microphone had died. So I was talking to you, but you couldn't hear anything that I was saying. These are really good, really easy to put together, and honestly, a really good spin on your regular pigs in a blanket. So having them more like a chili cheese dog, we loved this. My husband really, really loved these. So feel free, like I said, to use the little cocktail wieners instead of hot dogs. We just prefer these just because we already know that we like this hot dog brand. We're gonna change up Taco Tuesday a little bit and make a taco ring with crescent rolls. All right, let's brown up some ground beef. I'm gonna put just a touch of olive oil here in the pan. Get this going. And we are gonna add some minced garlic. As we're browning this up, I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper just to make sure we have really good flavor on this. As this is cooking, I have a half packet of this taco seasoning left. We're gonna add this in. And we always pretty much only prefer a half packet, but if you wanna add a full packet to your ground beef, you can absolutely do that. All right, my oven is currently preheating to 375 degrees. I'm gonna open this thing of crescent rolls and we're gonna lay them out on this stone. You can use a pizza circle, you can use a baking dish, whatever it is that you have. All right, now that we have this all laid out, I'm gonna take our beef mixture and it's gonna go sort of in the center-ish. Now I'm gonna take cheese and that's gonna go all around as well. I'm using a shredded cheddar. This is Kerrygold cheese. We shredded ourselves, so it's just all in this container here, shredded and ready to go. Now we're gonna take the ends and just kind of fold them over. I'm trying to stick them to the other side just so they stay. My oven is preheated to 375 degrees. This is going in for about 18 minutes. Okay, while that's in the oven, I wanna prep guacamole, get the salsa in a container, get everything kind of ready to go. A little tip, if you find that your avocado is just too hard to smash up in a bowl, try putting it in a cup, like this blender cup. I've never tried this in a glass cup because I feel like that could be an issue, but I just kind of take my fork and do like this, and then it will smash up a lot easier. Honestly, I think it's a lot easier than trying it in the bowl unless it's super soft. All right, so my idea was to just put this in the center. I thought that it would fit and it does not. So we're gonna do it a little bit different. And the toppings are gonna go directly on it like this. This next recipe is so fun. Everyone is gonna love this one, I promise. We've got about a pound of ground beef right here. If you do not want to make up your own meatballs, feel free to buy meatballs already frozen. You can absolutely use those. We pretty much always make up our meatballs just because that's easy to do. And we almost always have the supplies ready to go. So I keep this pretty simple. I don't even measure what goes in this anymore. I'll do a rough estimate in the description box. If you're curious, I'm gonna add in some pepper. This is white pepper. I've been using that lately, and it's kind of a parenting thing. My son, for some reason lately, when he sees pepper on stuff, he thinks that it's going to be too spicy. But I've been using the white pepper and he doesn't notice quite as much. Sometimes he'll still make a comment and say, there's a lot of spice on this. But anyway, the white pepper, he doesn't seem to notice as much, so we will have white pepper. Got some onion powder. Feel free to use onions if that's what you prefer. I'm gonna add some salt, 1 egg. Now you can do this in your KitchenAid mixer or with a hand mixer, or you can mix it with your hands, totally up to you. Let's add in some breadcrumbs. And I like to add minced garlic. Feel free to add minced garlic. Feel free to add, what is it called? Powder, garlic powder. So we'll just toss some of that in and get this all mixed together. Now, you could make as much of this recipe as you want. You can make up lots of meatballs. You could do multiple rows of this. That'll make sense in just a minute when we start to assemble. You could even cut this recipe, you know, probably in half. I'm choosing to go ahead and make up all of the meatballs, and we will not use all of them in this recipe, but I figured I've got to make meatballs for this recipe. We'll probably just have something like spaghetti and meatballs for dinner tonight. My family loves when I just make a really simple dinner, especially after we've had all these different things for holidays. Don't you love when you thought you had everything prepped and ready to go for a recipe and you didn't? So now I'm shredding cheese. This is mozzarella. And I was thinking, as I was pulling this out of the fridge, I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna use the Asiago Romano cheese that I have already done. That one's expired. So we are shredding mozzarella. No big deal. I've got my cheese shredder that you guys know I love so much. I'm gonna be using my cast iron skillet for this one. Feel free to use just any oven safe skillet. Or, I mean, technically you could probably make this in you could make it in a pie dish. I wonder if I should just do that. I have no good reason for changing the dish other than the fact that I already made something for this video in the cast iron skillet. So we'll just make it in this pie dish. We are going to preheat the oven to 350. And I'm using these Annie's biscuits. You can use whatever kind of biscuits you like. You can definitely home make your biscuits, but we had plenty of biscuits from just different things that I made over the holidays. I think I've said it here before. Hillary is her name, but her account is Old World Home. She has a biscuit recipe on her channel. Every single time I need to make biscuits, I just go get her recipe. It's so simple. I should have it memorized by now. I'm also getting out my cookie scoop, which I should have already done, and I need to get out my rolling pin, which I should have already done. We're gonna get organized, guys, one of these days. Is it even fun anymore if I'm organized? Okay, let's start taking our biscuits. We're going to roll them out enough that we can stuff them and then wrap them kind of around themselves. Okay, so flattening it out here. I'm going to take a little bit of cheese. Let's move this closer. Put a little bit of cheese here at the bottom. And then we are going to scoop a meatball. Okay, oh, not like that. Take your meatball. You can add cheese to the top too if you want. We're gonna wrap it up, pinch all of our seams together, and we're just gonna repeat this process and go all the way around our pie dish here. And we're gonna use all of the biscuits. Okay, I think we're pinched good. Pinched. I want to know in the comments, tell me either how your Christmas was, or do you have plans for the new year, for New Year's Eve? We usually go to a friend's house. We hang out there for a little bit with our kiddos. We eat dinner, and then we usually will do some sort of community service project with the kids over there too, to kind of start off the new year right. And then we come home and we're usually home by like 8:30. So we keep it pretty chill for New Year's. How about you guys? So, oh, I meant to tell you, you can make these smaller too. What I would do if you want to make these smaller, you're going to make your meatball smaller, but I would cut this in half or even in quarters. I mean, you can make them really small so that you have several bite-sized ones. That could be really fun too. I don't remember if I put cheese in the last one. Hopefully I did. So while I am making these are very similar to this recipe that I made in this video right here, which is what we called a meatball Wellington. And if you haven't tried this one, it's all the same type of flavors. This is just kind of like a mini appetizer kind of version of that, but we loved that dinner. It was so tasty, so fun. If you're looking for a fun recipe, highly suggest you check that one out. Okay, my oven just dinged so that it's ready. I'm just sprinkling these with a little bit of onion powder. We are gonna do some garlic butter, but first I want these to go ahead and cook for a couple of minutes. So overall, these are gonna cook about 15 to 18 minutes on 350. We're gonna take them out at about the 7 to 8 minute mark, and we will add some garlic butter and then put them back in. So while those are in there, we've got a couple things that we need to do. Let's make up a garlic butter. So I've just melted about a tablespoon of butter, and we're gonna add in some minced garlic. I'm gonna probably add overall about a half teaspoon. That's what I'm trying. I could get my half teaspoon measurer out, but I already have this knife out. So that's gonna be ready and just set to the side. When they come out at around the 7 minute mark, we're going to brush these with this garlic butter. All right, also while that's in there, we need to make up our sauce. Now I'm gonna be making a lot more of this than what you would need, but like I said, we are gonna have spaghetti for dinner tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and make up enough sauce that we have it for this and for the spaghetti. So I'm taking 2 cans actually, you can just use one if you want, of tomato sauce. I'm just gonna go ahead and pour it in this bowl. While I have it here, let's go ahead and add in our garlic powder. Add in about a half teaspoon or so of salt. Also, please feel like you do not have to use this exact recipe. This is just how I know that we like it. I'm gonna add in some onion powder. And also you could just buy jar sauce if that's what you prefer. Some of that ground white pepper, some Italian seasoning, which we like a lot of Italian seasoning. I also like to add in some Worcestershire. I just bought a new bottle. Oh good, oh man, I hate when it doesn't have the right kind of top. You know, when they make the tops like this, why do they not make the tops with the little hole? I don't like that. Okay, so we're just adding like 3/4 of a teaspoon or so. I do like to add just a touch of sugar. You can skip this if you don't want it, but it just cuts the acidity of the tomatoes. So each pump is a teaspoon, so I did about 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. Now we can just take this over to the stove and heat it up. All right, we are at the 7 minute mark. So let's take that garlic butter and we're just gonna brush the tops of each one of these. These are gonna be so good. Now, another thing that I wanna do, and I might add a little bit more once these actually come out, but I feel like there's not enough color on this, and if I had fresh parsley, I would definitely add it, but I'm just gonna add a touch of parsley to the top of each one. I just feel like it adds a little something, you know? All right, so these are gonna go back in for about, let's say 8 more minutes, and then we'll check it. Oh man, it's gonna be so good. Okay, I went ahead and put some sauce here into this little thing. Look how snug it fits in there. So nice. I love the way this looks. I think it's really fun. Let's add a little bit of parsley to the top of this too. We're gonna cut one open because, you know, we gotta see what the inside looks like. We're gonna take them out and we're gonna actually cut it open just so you can see the inside, what it looks like, because, I mean, we already know this looks awesome. Oh, that is what you want. That looks delicious. Oh yeah. The sun's coming in here at a really weird angle, but I'm gonna cut off a little piece here and taste it just so I can let you guys know how good it is. I mean, I can smell it and know it's good. It's basically like a meatball sub. These are so easy to make, so fun. Everybody in your family is gonna enjoy these. Your friends are gonna enjoy these. I do think one thing that would be really neat is if you're looking for handheld, definitely make those smaller, and you can actually make like multiple rows of them. So then it's almost like a pull apart bread, but these are very good. I definitely suggest trying them. Okay, in this recipe, we are going to be using a bundt pan. If you are making this for more people than just 4 like I am, I highly suggest that you actually use 2 cans of biscuit dough. I'm only gonna use 1. We just don't need all of that. I melted a half a stick of butter, and to that butter, we are going to add some minced garlic. And I'm not measuring this, but you want a decent amount of minced garlic in here because you're gonna roll biscuits around in there. So that's probably just over a teaspoon. Now I have some bowls that are pre-filled with some of my ingredients here. We've got black sesame seeds. We've got some taco seasoning, some everything but the bagel seasoning. I've got some chopped fresh parsley. This right here is Parmesan and paprika mixed together. And then we have some of our favorite Kerrygold cheese. And actually, you know what? Let me spray the bundt pan before I forget. So I'm gonna be cutting these in half. Then we're gonna kind of roll them around, make somewhat of a ball out of it. Dip it in the butter. Your hands are gonna get a little bit messy here, and that's okay. Dip it in the butter, and then you're gonna pick which seasoning you wanna roll this around in. Okay, so this one is obviously black sesame seeds, and then you just put that in the bundt pan. And if obviously your hands are gonna get dirty and you're gonna mix up your spices a little bit, and that's okay. This is going in a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes until it gets nice and golden brown, but it's gonna be really pretty. Look how pretty this pull-apart bread is. I feel like it would be so beautiful to take to a gathering. You've got all these different colors. I feel like bacon, little pieces of bacon would be so good in this, or maybe cranberries, something that's gonna add that red element. But otherwise, look how pretty it is. You could absolutely make this sweet instead of savory with all different colors as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you need more inspiration, you are going to love the video above.